Yeah. Yeah. You said you loved me. It was all lies. You said it while you looked me softly in the eyes. You said it while you wiped the tears from my eyes. And I wonder why. Why the fuck did you touch me? You made me feel so lucky. You made me feel like everything. Now I feel like nothing. You made me feel so pretty. I know I'm not, I'm ugly, but I feel so beautiful every time that you hug me. I told mine, she played it off like it's all good. So in my head it was all right. I remember our first time. You told me that it was all tight. Me and mom played dress up. She told me to wear the dress you like. And then we had a daddy-daughter date. And that's the night that you really changed my life. Cause I'm weak-minded, I'm naive, I'm insecure and I'm hurt. Sometimes I end up with fuck niggas, so I fuck niggas, that's worse. Good guys ask me on dates, they don't get played, get them away first. And it's cause you and what you did to me, I would've never thought that you would hurt me. What's the purpose? I trusted you, I really trusted you. When I'm in the mood, my first thought is me fucking dudes. Then they touch me, I get pissed, I let them rule. Then turned off, cause it's like fucking you. Why would you touch me? I did forget, I'm just trying to block the shit. I'm just trying to erase the memories me and my father did. I don't think that shit was right, thought I was my father's kid. But you had me thinking that was love, and that's the shit that fathers did. It wasn't, you played me, nigga, you played me. And now you saying you can't accept the gay me? When you the reason that a nigga can't sleep? When you the reason God probably hate me? Fuck you, I made it out the closet that you built around me. I know that I was born this way, but you helped me count the ladies out. You told me being gay was sick, but put your dick inside my mouth. And now you found God and want me to take a different route. Nah, I only came to tell you that I love you. And no matter what you did, I never wish harm for you. And to tell you I forgive you, I know you a better person. And to tell you since you found God, go visit him in person, bitch. Yo, what up, y'all? Just want to let y'all know no one was hurt during the filming of this video. If you or anyone you know is or have been abused, make sure you tell an adult or call the number that's on the screen.
Yo, what's happening? Y'all gotta excuse me, man. I'm out in public right now, handling some business before I go to work. So y'all have to excuse the background noise or whatever, or excuse, how low I'm talking. Y'all let me know if y'all can hear me in the comment section, so I know if I'm good or not. Peace, Indian Exposed. What up, Gerald? What up, DeWanda? What's happening? Yeah, I had to add you back. Let me add you back, DeWanda, because something was going on to where somebody was deleting Sean's comments, whoever was a moderator. So I had took everybody off of moderation until I could figure out what was going on. So let me see if I can get you added back as a moderator. Again, I'm out in public right now, so y'all, bear with me with the background noise and everything. Let me see if I can add you back in. Okay, I see you there. Let me see. Let me try to add you back as a moderator. Add as moderator. There you go. Okay, you should be good. I think I just added you back. Yeah, so I went through and deleted everybody just to make sure, or find out what was going on. So I'll just add everybody back. Indian Exposed, let me add you back too, because you always in here supporting. But as long as y'all can hear me, I really ain't trying to talk too loud, especially with this topic right here, So again, for a lot of people who are new to me, in dealing with religion, dealing with the topic of religion and things like that. Me and Miss Sean was talking earlier today, and she was like, you got a lot of people who are new to you and don't know your story and don't know why you what they don't know what your position is when it comes to religion and all of that. So I had to think about that because most of the people that's been over here with me, they already know where I stand at when it comes to religion and all of that. Um, so in this live, this won't be a long live. This won't be a long live for me because I got to get ready for work tonight. But when I do these lives on religion, I just want people to have an open mind um, of where non-believers are coming from and what woke non-believers up, um, what made us stop following these religions, um, what turned us off. So when I do these videos, they're basically me trying to show you through the eyes of a non-believer why we don't follow this stuff. And this is what we're going to go look at right now. Is one of the biggest reasons, one of the biggest wake ups um, for a lot of us non-believers. When you deal with slavery in the Bible, um, it baffles me how a lot of so-called Christians or whatever, especially brown-skinned Christians, right? It amazes me how they can still follow this after the book clearly shows you that it condones slavery. I keep telling y'all this is not the word of any loving God. This is humans writing this for mind control, to control you. So a lot of people like to overlook the whole slavery thing in the Bible, or either they like to try to twist it and make excuses for slavery in the Bible when our people actually went through slavery, and this book was used against us. I keep telling people there's a book right now that you can look up on Amazon right now called How to Make a Negro Christian. And in that book, this was a slave owner, a pastor, slave owner who owned slave, who passed this book around. He wrote this book and he passed it around to other slave owners on how to control Negroes, on how to control their Negro slaves. And one of the things was to give them religion. Give them religion. So they gave you your God to worship, to fear and worship. And it just baffles me how our people can be so loyal to this. So the big question many of us non-believers had is, how can the slave and the slave master pray to the same God? How do you pray to the same God as the slave master? If you're the slave, whose prayer is this God answering? All right, so I'm gonna play this video and I'll come back and just give my final thoughts on it. And if this don't wake some people up, I don't know what will. You're kind of a lost cause, I would think, if this doesn't make you side eye this book. And this is only this part because there's more to it. But let's see how they use the Bible to control brown skinned people and humanity as a whole. Humanity as a whole. But if you're a brown skinned person, this should bother you. So this only matters to people who care. This only will matter to people who care, and it will make you side eye and wake up from this. But if you don't care, you'll find an excuse to make for this, and then you'll continue to follow this book as if it's positive for you. But let's see, let's check it out, see what I'm talking about.
At this point, let me remind you that God condemned to slavery the damned posterity of Canaan in the days of Joshua. God ordained by express statute to Abraham's posterity that they should buy slaves, and decreed that those slaves would be a perpetual inheritance for their children. God recognized Abraham as the owner of slaves he had bought, commanding him to circumcise them. And Jesus ordained that whosoever dared to raise seditious doubts as to the benevolence of the institution of slavery should be cast out and scorned not only as a danger to the state, but destructive to the true nature of the gospel. God decreed by law that slavery be honored and obeyed, being his ordainment. Jesus himself established by law the relation of master and slave. The master must exercise without any weakness his authority over the slave. The master must not hesitate to punish him severely, whipping him with the number of lashes commensurate to the offense. All this, dear brethren, is made known to us by the recorded language of the Bible. Slavery is therefore a divine institution, ordered and sanctioned by God. Therefore, with all the authority invested in me by the church, I, Reverend Thornton Stringfellow of the state of Virginia, order you to honor slavery and not to discuss it on the basis of false moral premises.
They told us the Bible was the word of God, but they never told us it was also used to justify one of the darkest chapters in human history, slavery. Today I'm going to show you 10 Bible verses that were used to promote, condone, and legalize slavery. See, this ain't my opinion. This is in the text, the good book. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Let's talk about it. Exodus 21, verses 20 to 21. It says, if a man beats his male or female slave with a rod, and the slave dies, he must be punished. But if the slave recovers after a day or two, he is not to be punished, because the slave is his property. Now let that sink in. The Bible literally says that enslaved people were property. And as long as they didn't die immediately, beating them was allowed. Let's look at Leviticus 25, verses 44 to 46. It says, your male or female slaves are to come from nations around you. You may buy them. They will become your property, and you could pass them on to your children as inherited possessions. You see, this wasn't just slavery. It was generational slavery. Approved, endorsed, scripturally legal. Let's look at Ephesians 6, verses 5. It says, slaves, obey your earthly masters with respect and fear, and with sincerity of heart, just as you will obey Christ. This verse was read to melanated slaves in America, to keep them obedient, to break their spirit, to spiritually manipulate them into submission. Let's look at Titus 2, verses 9 to 10. It says, teach slaves to be subject to their masters in everything, to please them, not to talk back to them. See, not only were slaves told to obey, but they were told to keep quiet. Sound familiar? Let's look at 1 Peter 2, verse 18. It says, slaves, in reverent fear of God, submit yourselves to your masters, not only to those who are good and considerate, but also to those who are harsh. See, this is spiritual programming, justifying abuse in the name of God. You see the pattern? Let's look at Genesis 9, verse 25. It says, cursed be Canaan, the lowest of slaves he will be to his brothers. This verse was twisted by white supremacists to justify the enslavement of melanated people, calling it the curse of Ham. But it was a manipulation of the text with devastating consequences. Let's look at Exodus 21, verse 7. It says, if a man sells his daughter as a servant, she is not to go free as male servants do. See, this ain't just condoning slavery, but treating young girls as property to be sold. This is in the holy book that many people worship without question. Let's look at Deuteronomy 20, verses 10 to 14. It says, when the Lord your God delivers it into your hands, you may take the plunder as women, children, livestock. You may use the plunder the Lord gives you from your enemies. You see, this is spiritual justification for war, rape, enslavement, and pillaging, all wrapped in God says so. Let's look at Luke 12, verse 47. It says that servant who knows his master's will and does not do it will be beaten with many blows. You see, even Jesus used a slave master language here. The conditioning ran deep. Let's look at Colossians 3, verse 22. It says, slaves, obey your earthly masters in everything, and do it with sincerity of heart and reverence for the Lord. This verse was weaponized during slavery in America. It was read from pulpits while my people were in chains. Now ask yourself, why were we only given this one book to read during slavery? Why were we banned from reading anything else? Because they knew what they were doing. This wasn't about salvation. It was about control, about reprogramming your soul.
Now, you have to ask yourself, If you're somebody that follows this Bible and you clearly see that this Bible condones slavery and the mistreatment of human beings in this book, not just brown people, just human beings as a whole, humanity. This is why I keep trying to tell y'all, this is no God writing this. These are human beings who wrote this stuff. They wrote it to control you. They wrote it to control the masses. They wrote it to control the world. So if you can read these scriptures and still praise this God, it's crazy. Let's just get back to it.
Brothers and sisters, I lead you to Peter 2:18. Slaves, submit yourselves to your masters with all respect, not only to those who are good and considerate, but also to those who are harsh.
The slave master and the slave got the same God. How that's gonna work? Just think, both of them praying to their God for what? One praying to get free from the slave master, the other one praying to stay in his position. How they both praying to the same God and think they're gonna get the same results? That God, the God that they praying to is creating a war, a civil war. It has to be a civil war. We can't both want the same thing to that same God.
All right, family. So if slaves and slave masters were praying to the same God, whose prayers were being answered?
Okay, I'll take my hat off to this one.
I was just saying, they were both, the slaves got introduced to the Bible from the slave masters, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So who prayers got answered during that time?
God bless the just and the unjust, okay? That's all I would say. That's the biblical answer right there. That's a great question, very controversial question right there. Yeah. I mean, blessing the slave master with more growth for the crops and all of those things, and blessing the slaves with just life, still being able to not be killed, to make it through, you know. So yeah, you got me on that.
I find it absolutely mental how if you show a Christian a really disgusting Bible verse like you're allowed to beat your slaves, or kids should be put to death if they insult their parents, or if a woman gets in a city, then she should be put to death because she clearly didn't scream loud enough for people to come help her, so that means she wanted it. They would rather say, well, no, here's some Bible verses that contradict it. They would rather admit that they have contradictory views rather than just say, yeah, that was pretty messed up.
If a man beats his slave and he doesn't die, he is not to be punished because the slave is his property. Exodus 21:20. Not to be punished because he's his property.
Right, and so what I'm saying is that it doesn't imply that nothing exactly is going to happen to him because of that. It just says he's just not going to be responsible for the death of that person.
No, that's not what it says.
Israel can still.
That's not what it says.
It says. Right, he would not be punished for the death of that servant.
That's not what it says. It says he will be punished for the death of the servant. You can't even stay on what it actually says. If a man beats a slave and he dies, that man is to be punished. If the slave does not die within a day or two, that man is not to be punished because the slave is his property, his money. That's what it says.
Right.
And that is from God, at least God inspired is what's supposed to be the message here. It is, right. I swear, I'm not trying to be a dick, Ryan, but it breaks my heart in a serious way for people, anybody, to make excuses for something that they acknowledge plainly is grossly immoral, that has led to the subjugation of people for ages. And I don't.
And that's what I'm talking about. Believers will make excuses. They will sit there and try to make excuses for what you're clearly reading in the book. But if you mention slavery any other time in the real world, we all know what slavery is, but they will make excuses all because they're trying to make it fit their belief system. It's crazy. I think it's sick too.
Punished because the slave is his property, his money. That's what it says.
Right.
And that is from God, at least God inspired is what's supposed to be the message here. It is,
right.
I swear, I'm not trying to be a dick, Ryan, but it breaks my heart in a serious way for people, anybody, to make excuses for something that they acknowledge plainly is grossly immoral, that has led to the subjugation of people for ages. And I don't have to do shit. You want me to hang up?
Well,
I'm sitting here talking about... You're on hold. I'm sitting here explaining how I wake up every day, every single day, in a world where the majority of people believe in batshit crazy stuff that is also evil and contributes to the destruction of society. And when I talk to people who believe this, who want to talk about, oh, you're getting it out of context, you're just not considering that that's fucking bullshit. I read you the verses. When we're not looking at the verses, you don't necessarily get them right, but you agree that this is immoral, that people aren't property, that you shouldn't be allowed to beat them as long as they don't die, that you shouldn't be buying them from the people around you. And yet you are sitting here bending over backwards and accusing me of being disingenuous and taking it out of context in order to make excuses. Why not just acknowledge that book is grossly immoral and you and I are both better than that book? Why is that so hard? There are, by the way, Christians I've talked to who say, hey, those verses are immoral. I don't think those verses even necessarily came from a God. The God I believe in would not do that. The Bible is not de facto perfect. It is the result of men.
What up, Tim?
Why not do that? And then you don't have to embarrass yourself and contribute to a culture that is amplifying immorality and pretending that it's moral, that it's permissible. Why not do that?
And that servant which knew his Lord's will, and prepared not himself, neither did according to his will, shall be beaten with many stripes. Did you hear that?
Now they reading this to you. Now they're reading this to you. And they had you read it to each other. And then y'all would turn around and go to church and praise the same Jesus that they used to justify tearing your ass up, mistreating you, discriminating against you. Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. This is through the eyes of a non-believer, right? This is a lot of things that woke us up. This is one of the big things that woke us up. Many of us just couldn't. We couldn't get jiggy with this. We just couldn't. God is doing this.
Which knew his Lord's will, and prepared not himself, neither did according to his will.
And all I'm trying to get many of you to understand is we don't believe that some God wrote this. We don't believe some God told somebody to write this. We believe, many of us believe, humans wrote this for mind control. We don't believe, many of us don't believe this is no inspired word of no God. We believe this is humans writing this to control the world, to control the masses, and to control you Negroes. Control the God, you control the mind. You control their God, you control the mind. Control the God. You control their minds. How to Make a Negro Christian is being still sold today. Look it up on Amazon. It's still being sold today, and it was a book written to tell other slave owners how to control you Negroes. Control the God. You control the mind. The book is still out there. And y'all running around here talking about thank you, Jesus, thank you, Jesus. It's crazy, 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 crazy.
Shall be beaten with many stripes. Did you hear that? Stripes. That nigga that don't obey his Lord, that's his master, do you see? That there nigga shall be beaten with many stripes.
Come on, Tia. Come on, Tia. This is what I be trying to tell them, man. Like, you have everything inside of you. Why do you believe this? Why do you believe this? You have this is what I be saying about the brain. The Creator gave you a brain to think. And I think this is why it gets frustrating for me. Like, when I can see that many of us have the tools to figure things out, but when it comes to religion, we choose not to use those tools to figure things out. And this is why I told you, religion doesn't work for a thinker, because you're not allowed to think when it comes to religion. You just have to believe.
Now, many signifies a great many. 40, 100, 150 lashes. That's scripture.
Slave masters use the Bible to control people, and some parents still do. And this gonna make some people uncomfortable. Slave masters use the Bible to control our people. They quoted scripture about obedience, servants, obeying their masters, and submission. And why? Because when you control someone's belief system, you don't even need to change no more. You got them in their mind. And a lot of people don't realize that exact same tactic still shows up today in some parents.
I just told y'all that. I just said that. Control the God. You control their God. You control their mind. Control a Negro's God. You control his mind. And this is the game they played on us, and they're still playing on us. Still to this day.
Obeying their masters and submission. And why? Because when you control someone's belief system, you don't even need to change no more. You got them in their mind. And a lot of people don't realize that exact same tactic still shows up today in some parents. Some of us grew up with parents who mistreated us, abandoned us, abused us, or used us as their emotional dumping grounds. But the moment you speak up, suddenly they want to become religious. Now it's honor your mother and your father. God says you must forgive. You being disrespectful. So now the same person that wronged you is using scripture to make you submit to the wrongdoing. That's called spiritual manipulation. And it's the same psychological tactic that slave masters use when they quoted the Bible to keep enslaved people obedient. If you control the belief, you control the person. And deep down, a lot of us knew something felt wrong, but guilt kept us quiet. So now the real question is, does honoring your parents mean keep allowing them to hurt you? Or does breaking toxic cycles mean finally telling the truth about what happened? Because some people believe you should submit no matter what. And some of us believe respect goes both ways. Breaking toxic family cycles is not hate. It's not revenge. It's not out of spite. It's responsibility. Because if you allow manipulation to control you, you pass that same trauma down to your kid. When you break free from the guilt and the manipulation, the family that comes from you can finally be healthy. Sometimes breaking a cycle means refusing to stay enslaved to.
A real question.
I just want to stop real quick just to shout out to people checking in, man. Shout out to my sister Tia checking in, man. Shout out to Gerald up in here, Sonya checking in, Marmar checking in. A different perspective. What's up? What's up? What's happening? Step Up is in here. You know, these are the people that I didn't get a chance to shout out, but they're coming in. Listen, y'all. For those of you just checking in, what we're looking at is through the eyes of a non-believer. Okay, we're looking at some of the things, or one of the major things that help to wake us up out of this religion fairy tale thing. You feel what I'm saying? And the fact of you're praying to the same God as your slave master or the slave master when you were a slave. That's a big issue. Even in today's time, how do you still pray to the same God that your enemy prays to? You know, they gave you a God. They gave you a God to fear and worship for mind control. So what I was just saying before some of y'all came in, religion is used to control the mind. This is not an all-loving God writing this stuff. These are evil humans looking to control people. Evil humans. And I mean, until people can get that, I mean, look, what we're looking at right now is how they use slavery. They used the Bible to justify the way they mistreated people in slavery. They used the Bible to justify owning people as property. And we have people who overlook this out of fear or just out of ignorance as a whole. You know, it's sad, but I'm gonna let it get finished out.
How are you, a black person, and extremely devoted to the faith that was given and indoctrinated within your ancestors? Like when I came across in the Bible, slaves obey your earthly master, right? With fear and trembling of the heart and with sincerity, and to obey them as if they were Christ. Oh, that was it for me. When I found out this is how they subjugated us during slavery, oh, that did it. That did it.
I find it absolutely mental how if you show a Christian a really disgusting Bible verse like you're allowed to beat your slaves, or kids should be put to death if they insult their parents, or if a woman gets in a city then she should be put to death because she clearly didn't scream loud enough for people to come help her, so that means she wanted it. They would rather say, well, no, here's some Bible verses that contradict it. They would rather admit they have contradictory views rather than just say, yeah, that was pretty messed up.
Don't you love how everybody just turns a blind eye to the slavery part of the Bible? Because clearly we all understand what a slave is, and we know what slavery means until it comes to the Bible. Then you gotta turn into red from Friday, especially if you're a Christian, with that, oh, that was different. Clearly you know what it's talking about, but you don't want to admit it because it just messes up your whole foundation. Imagine you start a job, you get your employee handbook, and you open it, and it refers to all the employees as slaves, and the job is slavery. You would be offended. You'd be ready to quit that damn job that quick before you even started, because you know what slavery means until you open that Bible. And I done heard multiple content creators talk about the 25th chapter of Leviticus, and it breaks down. It says what y'all call, no, they were just servants. It talks about the poor Israelites who may need to become servants. And then it talks about enslaving people from other lands as slaves. So the Bible clearly talks about slavery, and it's a damn slave book. And we can fast forward a little bit up until the chattel slavery in America. Now, you wasn't allowed to read. Matter of fact, you got KILLED for reading. But I'm gonna let you read this book. So the same people who wouldn't give you nothing good to eat, they gave you the damn pig, the slop, the nasty. You eating the chitlins, you eating the feet, the snout, the ears. We ain't gonna give you no good food. We don't want you reading. Matter of fact, we're gonna let you read this though. We do everything bad to you, but we're gonna give you the glory and the weight of God. The same God that we serving. Come, miss me with that. That's why we call it a slave book. The book literally talks about obeying your master. Imagine your supervisor say, hey, don't call me Mr. Jones, just call me master. Man, what the hell? You see your reaction? But when you read the Bible, oh, it's all right to slave for your master. Miss me with, you just don't want to be real with yourself. Turn the other cheek. That's being pushed on who? The slaves. So let us enslave you and forgive us, because we all gonna be in heaven together, even though you my slave. You got the slave praying for freedom. You got the slave master praying to keep you enslaved. Who God gonna answer? It's all the same religion. Slave book. They didn't use the Bible.
So let me say this. Let me just say this real quick. There has never been anything that was good for the slave master. If it was good for the slave master, there was never anything good for the slave master that was good for the slave. So if the Bible was good for the slave master, you better believe it's not good for you. It wasn't good for you. Nothing's ever been good. Nothing that the slave master ever had was ever good for the slave. Let that sink in. They used the Bible to justify hurting and harming and controlling you, manipulating you. And you think they gave you that book to help you? This is what I mean when I be saying, like, all common sense goes out the window when it comes to religion. You know what I mean? All common sense goes out the window. Now, what we're about to go into right now is now we're going to look at the slave Bible. The slave Bible. We're going to look at the slave Bible and how they took stuff out of the Bible. And you got to ask yourself why they took stuff out of there. So let's check this out.
The Bible you preaching from on Sunday?
Listen, brother.
It's not what they use. They use the slave Bible from 1807.
Right.
This Bible is a pamphlet. You know Grandma's Church Fan?
Yeah.
This Bible is Grandma's Church Fan. So this is how deep it goes. 90% of the Old Testament is not in there. 40 to 50% of the New Testament is missing. Let me give you greater context. The Bible has generally about 1,189 chapters. The slave Bible had 232.
Ooh-wee.
232.
The whole book of Exodus was...
Come on, I was about to say that. So the Exodus is missing. So I understand their sentiment, but that's not what was... Christianity wasn't handed to us.
Right.
It was...
Now, what I want y'all to understand is, if we're going to go along with this book, right? Inside of this book tells you, Tia, you down there cooking too. You down there cooking. You down there cooking. This book that you love to follow. Now, just listen to me. This book that y'all love to follow tells you that no man is supposed to add to or take from this God's word. Yet, people do it. They don't fear this God. They don't fear the devil. They don't fear hell. They don't fear none of that. But guess what? You know why they don't fear? Because they don't believe in it. They got you believing in it. They don't believe in it. This is why you have so many versions of these books coming out. No man is supposed to add to or take from that book. People do not fear adding to or taking from that book. They don't fear going against God. They don't. You know why? Because they don't believe in it. But they got you believing in it. So because they got you brainwashed, they can change it up to what they want to do. And all they got to do is say, God said, God said, God said. Or they say, in the name of Jesus. And you guys fall for it. Y'all fall for it. Y'all fall for it every time. They're taking books out of the Bible and changing things around how they want to do it. They got a whole slave Bible in the museum. And they took stuff out of these books because they were scared of uprising. They were scared these books were going to, encourage uprising. Yeah, man. Come on, Tia. Come on, Tia. Come on, y'all, man. Y'all down. See, this is why I love my crowd over here. This is why I love my crowd over here. Like, I love talking to y'all. Because y'all already, man, y'all so ahead of the game. Y'all so, that's why I love talking to y'all over here. But I do understand we have some, some people who may be on the fence of things. So I have to, take things slow with them. So I'm trying to find different approaches, in my way that I bring this stuff. Oh, that's a good one right there, Tia. Yeah, I'm gonna have to bring you on one day, Tia, so we can me, you, DeWanda, Elijah, so we can go in. William Jones, William Cartwright, Black Atheist Rants. But yeah, I'm gonna let y'all. What we're listening to is how they took the books out of the Bible. They're talking about the actual slave Bible that's in the museum. That isn't the same as the Bible that your preacher preaches from today in the pulpit.
Was a deliberate, demonic dehumanizing of black people for their gain, their greed, and their own glory.
Inside Washington's Museum of the Bible, a single volume that is like no other. The so-called Slave Bible, remarkable not for what's in it, but for what's not.
So about 90% of the Old Testament's been removed and about 50% of the New Testament's been removed. To put it another way, a normal King James Version has 1,189 chapters in it. The Slave Bible has only 232.
Missing are chapters and verses that might have encouraged uprisings. Book of Exodus, redacted. No story of Moses demanding Pharaoh, let my people go. Gone is Galatians, and the verse, there is neither bond nor free, for ye are all one in Christ Jesus. And no Jeremiah, woe unto him that useth his neighbor's service without wages.
What they've left in.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna run this back a little bit, right? Because what I want y'all to see is how humans are changing this book around. They're going in there and they're changing stuff. Putting books in, taking books out, keeping in what they want to keep in, taking out what they want to take out. You see what I'm saying? People don't care. They don't fear that. They don't they don't fear these guys because they don't believe in them. They don't believe in them. You do, though.
The Slave Bible had 232.
Ooh-wee.
232.
The whole book of Exodus was...
Come on, I was about to say that. So the Exodus is missing, so I understand their sentiment, but that's not what was... Christianity wasn't handed to us.
Right.
It was a deliberate, demonic dehumanizing of black people for their gain, their greed, and their own glory.
Inside Washington's Museum of the Bible, a single volume that is like no other. The so-called Slave Bible, remarkable not for what's in it, but for what's not.
So about 90% of the Old Testament's been removed and about 50% of the New Testament's been removed. To put it another way, a normal King James Version has 1,189 chapters in it. The Slave Bible has only 232.
Missing are chapters and verses that might have encouraged uprisings. Book of Exodus, redacted. No story of Moses demanding Pharaoh, let my people go. Gone is Galatians, and the verse, there is neither bond...
This is what I be telling y'all. This is what I be telling y'all. You see how they talking about there's no story of Moses and all. This is what I be telling y'all. These stories never happened, man. These stories never happened. These stories never happened, man. That's why they can take these stories out and stuff. They never happened. They never happened. What up, Robbie? What's happening? This is what I'm telling y'all. Y'all believe in these stories as if they're real, man. They never happened. This never happened. Thank you, Robbie. Appreciate that. They never happened. These stories are stories. They're stories. They're stories, y'all.
They use the Slave Bible from 1807.
Right.
This Bible is a pamphlet. You know Grandma's Church fan?
Yeah.
This Bible is Grandma's Church fan. So this is how deep it goes. 90% of the Old Testament is not in there. 40 to 50% of the New Testament is missing. Let me give you greater context. The Bible has generally about 1,189 chapters. The Slave Bible had 232.
Ooh-wee.
232.
The whole book of Exodus was...
Come on, I was about to say that. So the Exodus is missing, so I understand their sentiment, but that's not what was... Christianity wasn't handed to us.
Right.
It was a deliberate, demonic dehumanizing of black people for their gain, their greed, and their own glory.
Inside Washington's Museum of the Bible, a single volume that is like no other. The so-called Slave Bible, remarkable not for what's in it, but for what's not.
So about 90% of the Old Testament's been removed and about 50% of the New Testament's been removed. To put it another way, a normal King James Version has 1,189 chapters in it. The Slave Bible has only 232.
Missing are chapters and verses that might have encouraged uprisings. Book of Exodus, redacted. No story of Moses demanding Pharaoh, let my people go. Gone is Galatians, and the verse, there is neither bond nor free, for ye are all one in Christ Jesus. And no Jeremiah, woe unto him that useth his neighbor's service without wages.
What they've left in are verses such as Ephesians 6:5, which is the famous verse, slaves be obedient to your master.
Looking at this Bible, it's hard to tell that anything's been taken out of it.
That's correct. I mean, it looks like a normal book. For many enslaved Africans, this would have been the first time they were exposed to the Bible.
A Bible selectively edited to instill obedience, using religion to underpin the horror of slavery. When people encounter this exhibit, what lasting impression do you want them to leave with?
But we want to pass the message on that may this never happen again. The Bible itself is a whole book. It's not one that you get to carve up and use this piece or that piece.
The Slave Bible designed to repress rebellion, but it didn't work. Enslaved people in the Caribbean constantly fought against slavery until emancipation.
You're back on, by the way.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, you're right. I did misspeak about the verse, but it's only because I'm trying to get in there, but you just keep jumping back in, and I'm trying to. Okay. I want to explain what's going on because again, context is important.
Can I ask you a question before you jump in with Matt, really quick?
All right, go ahead, man.
Just really quick. Do you recognize that you're trying to justify slavery? Like, is that something that you recognize right now? And you could quibble about definitions, and that's fine, but you do realize you're justifying slavery right now.
Though. I mean, you guys keep saying, well, you could say definitions, you could say
no.
but that's bullshit.
That's because this was a quick question because you're talking about. I just wanted to ask, do you even recognize it?
Okay, slavery. There was slavery back in those days, but in Israel, the whole servant thing is not like the slave trade that was going on back in those days. Now, even though the guy did beat his servant, and if he lives, but he still has to go in front of the judges after that. I mean, as you read in the verses besides that, if he harms his servant, he's to be let go free. I mean, back in those days when somebody was a servant, like when like people would be servants for a certain amount of years to pay off a debt.
No, Ryan, no. Indentured servitude is already immoral, and slaves didn't necessarily have rights, but that's not what we're talking about here. Let me cut to the chase. Ryan, would you be my slave under the rules established in Exodus 21?
Bam! There you go. There you go. You see how you see how the tables turn right now? You see how the tables finna turn? You see what I'm saying? When you ask them, okay, you trying to make all these excuses for slavery in the Bible, but now I'm gonna ask you, would you be my servant? Would you be my slave? Because you're making up all kind of excuses for this book. But now I'm gonna ask you, under those same rules where I can beat you half to death, would you be my servant or would you be my slave today, right now? Under those same rules. And now listen how it changes. Come on, man.
To get in there, but you just keep jumping back in, and I'm trying to. Okay. I want to explain what's going on because again, context is important.
Can I ask you a question before you jump in with Matt, really quick?
All right, go ahead, man.
Just really quick. Do you recognize that you're trying to justify slavery? Like, is that something that you recognize right now? And you could quibble about definitions, and that's fine, but you do realize you're justifying slavery right now.
Though. I mean, you guys keep saying, well, you could say definitions, you could say
no.
But that's bullshit.
That's because this was a quick question because you're talking about. I just wanted to ask, do you even recognize it?
Okay, slavery. There was slavery back in those days, but in Israel, the whole servant thing is not like the slave trade that was going on back in those days. Now, even though the guy did beat his servant, and if he lives, but he still has to go in front of the judges after that. I mean, as you read in the verses besides that, if he harms his servant, he's to be let go free. I mean, back in those days when somebody was a servant, like when like people would be servants for a certain amount of years to pay off a debt.
No, Ryan, no. Indentured servitude is already immoral, and slaves didn't necessarily have rights, but that's not what we're talking about here. Let me cut to the chase. Ryan, would you be my slave under the rules established in Exodus 21?
If I could be, see, you keep saying slave, but it doesn't say slave, it says servant.
Oh my God. Ryan, would you be my servant under the rules of Exodus? No, shut up. Would you be my servant under the rules of Exodus 21? It's a bad idea. Don't do it. Why does this take even half a fucking second? This is the embarrassing thing. I'm gonna let you go, Ryan. I've already.
You see how everything stopped. You see how when you turn it around on them and put them in that position. Now look at it. While you're trying to defend it for that book, but now he's asking you, under them same rules, would you be my servant? Right now, today, under them same rules. Now it's a problem. Yeah.
A servant for a certain amount of years to pay off a debt.
No, Ryan, no. Indentured servitude is already immoral, and slaves didn't necessarily have rights, but that's not what we're talking about here. Let me cut to the chase. Ryan, would you be my slave under the rules established in Exodus 21?
If I could be, see, you keep saying slave, but it doesn't say slave, it says servant.
Oh my God. Ryan, would you be my servant under the rules of Exodus? No, shut up. Would you be my servant under the rules of Exodus 21? It's a bad idea. Don't do it. Why does this take even half a fucking second? This is the embarrassing thing. I'm gonna let you go, Ryan. I've already hung up because I want you to go and think about this. I'm not joking when I talk about how much this breaks my fucking heart to watch the poison that religion has imbued people with to the point where they will bend over backwards and hem and haw about the easiest question I could ask. Are people property? Can you beat them? Would you be my slave, my servant, if you want to pedantically? It wasn't written in English anyway. Under what Exodus 21 says. It is grossly immoral. It is an embarrassment that anybody would pause for more than half a second to answer that question. Think about what your religion has done to your head. It is making you a slave to the religion.
Boy, he just hit that on the point. Think about it. Look at how you're trying to justify this. This is what religion does to you. Like, this is what it does to you. Look how you're trying to justify slavery. No matter who's slavery, no matter who's enslaved, no matter what race of people, look how it's making you try to justify slavery. This is your religion. This is what it does. And this is what woke many of us up, because we feel like we're better than this. We don't condone this. We don't condone owning people as property. We don't condone selling people. But you as a Christian are trying to make excuses for it. Come on, man. This is why we get frustrated with y'all.
Because you no longer have the free will and exercise to say, this is wrong. I don't understand how things that are obviously property, can you beat them? Would you be my slave, my servant, if you want to pedantically? It wasn't written in English anyway. Under what Exodus 21 says. It is grossly immoral. It is an embarrassment that anybody would pause for more than half a second to answer that question. Think about what your religion has done to your head. It is making you a slave to the religion. Because you no longer have the free will and exercise to say, this is wrong. I don't understand how things that are obviously wrong, just because they're in somebody's book, you got to bend over backwards. Well, you got to think about the times. And it wasn't like, 150 years ago. It was, way back in the Israelites, and there were people who owed debts. Yes, and there were completely different rules for how to let your Jewish slaves go after 7 years, and then how you could trick fuck them into being your slaves forever, and how every 50 years was a year of Jubilee, and everybody got to go free. 50 years. 50 years. So when I buy a slave at 8, when they're 58, I can let them go. Oh, but Matt, what if the 50 years falls on?
Well, Tia, in there it does say, no man shall lay with another man as he lays with a woman, because this is detestable in God's eyes or whatever. Their blood, they should be put to death. Their blood will be on their hands. But it does say in the book, no man should lay with another man as he lays with a woman. In the book.
On their 10th birthday, you only had them for 2. Great, I don't buy an 8-year-old. I wait 2 years, and I buy the 11-year-old, and I get him for 49 years. There is literally no way to make what that book says about slavery remotely moral. And it's I tell you what, because I talk about this all the time, it's the prime example. It's the one I think is most obvious to people, that most people get. And I trust that Ryan will actually get it too. I don't know what he'll end up doing about it. I don't know what anybody will end up doing about it. But for the people who are like, oh, Matt just keeps harping on slavery. Yes! If you had a book that said it's okay to cut off your daughter's hand, what excuses would you make for that? And I would argue that cutting off somebody's hand is probably less harmful to them overall than maintaining them as a slave that you can beat and punish and sell off and give to your kids as their inheritance. You know, I can live without a hand. Can't live without freedom. I can't live a good, moral, humanist, valuable life without that freedom. And the people who are willing to sacrifice basic freedoms, actually they're not. Because Ryan knows that there's no way he would ever be my servant under Exodus 21. What's actually going on in Ryan's head is, I can't say that because that would be me denying and denouncing the Bible. And my religious beliefs won't allow me to do that.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying to you. Okay. Yeah, okay, I got it. You saying it was added to the book. Okay. But yeah, it does say what was added into the book. It says, if a man also lie with mankind as he lieth with a woman, both of them have committed an abomination. They shall surely be put to death. Their blood shall be upon them. That, you know, that was added into the book. I see what you're saying though.
That is the poison that religion imbues the population with, and it has to stop. I would love to never bring up Exodus 21 again forever. If the Christian community and the Jewish community would just get together and say, this is fucking wrong, we're going to at least ignore this passage in Exodus. You also have to ignore the one in Leviticus and the one in Deuteronomy, and the fact that in the New Testament, Jesus never says anything against slavery, and the only thing Paul ever says is slaves obey your masters in the Lord, even the cruel ones, which is the exact wrong thing to say to anybody. There's a reason slavery comes up over and over and over and over again, because it should be as obvious as whether or not the sun goes around the earth now that you actually have the evidence for it.
Okay, you guys, so I'm getting ready to get up out of here, but there's a couple more things I want to show you real quick. They're real short. That I want to show you guys. Again, for those of you who are new to me, basically all I'm trying to do is show you things that through the eyes of a non-believer, what made us step away from these religions, these man-made religions, these human-made religions. It made us wake up and say, yo, I can't follow this. I mean, to the point that I actually had to tell my parents, I had to make a decision for myself that, hey, I can't live for my mom and my dad. And I had to tell them. So when my mother asked me, so are you telling me you don't believe that Jesus is the Son of God? I said, no, Ma, I don't. Did it hurt my mother? I know it did. Of course it did. But I just had to keep it real. You know, I would hope that because I don't believe this, I'm not disowned as your child. But it happens. People do disown their children and family members and stuff behind this book, behind these man-made religions. It happens. It does. But I want to show y'all one other thing. So I want y'all to understand that people are paying attention and waking up from this stuff. So I'm gonna put this up on the screen and let y'all check this out too.
The American church has a math problem it can't solve. For every one person who joins, 6 people walk out the door. My name is Jason Boyette, and I write about religion. So the latest Pew Research Center data just dropped a massive reality check on the revival narrative we keep seeing on our feeds. While social media is full of claims about a great return to faith, the numbers tell a different story. And these are the numbers. A staggering 6-to-1 Exodus ratio. Here's the breakdown. For every one adult who was raised secular, but then decided to become a Christian, 6 people who were raised Christian have officially called it quits. To put that in perspective, nearly 22% of all American adults are in the category of former Christians. That's 57 million people who used to sit in the pews, but now they identify as atheists, agnostics, or nothing in particular. And here's what you may not realize. Non-religion, in demographic terms, is a lot stickier than faith. 3/4 of people raised without religion stay that way as adults. Like, they don't go back. Meanwhile, Christianity is losing its members 6 times faster than it can replace them. So when you see headlines about a new Great Awakening or Gen Z coming into the faith, remember the math. The church isn't just shrinking, it is failing the retention test. If you're one of the 6 who left, or if you're the one who stayed, or if you're one of these people coming to faith for the first time, I want to know about it. What was the tipping point for you? Was it a shift in your actual beliefs, or did the institution itself actually push you out?
Christianity is slowly starting to decline in numbers. And I've been seeing a couple clips of reverends and pastors talking about how it's not as strong as it was before, and a lot of churches are losing members and numbers are going down, and the youth isn't as interested in how can we keep them engaged and spread the word of Christ. Nothing, there's not a damn thing you can do about it now, bro. This stuff was bound to happen. You got to think. The foundation has to be strong for the building to stand tall. What's the foundation of Christianity? A book. A book full of fairy tales talking about, you gotta think, the book starts off with a damn talking snake. How long y'all think this shit was gonna work, man? Come on now. And on top of that, people are convinced that out of all the books, it's just one book, out of the billions of books, one special book that men kind of wrote, but an outside deity told him to write this one book. He created everything else his damn self, but had somebody else write a book. Come on, you can only tell a lie for so long before people start to catch on to it. On top of all the technology we got, all the information at the palm of our hands, we can easily do research now. This shit is that simple. You ask the average Christian this question, especially black ones. What were black people before Christians? They haven't even fathomed the idea because they think it just started with the Garden of Eden and when we got here. They don't even look at the history before that to realize it's a bunch of new made up bullshit. So yes, there's nothing you could do. And the homie Ron touched on this. It was a Christian talking about the deconstruction people on TikTok. If y'all left, that means y'all was never a part of the faith. Y'all sound like an abuser in a relationship that was nice at first and the person fell in love with them, and after a while they seen they bullshit and left and going, well, if you leave me, that just means you ain't love me in the first place. No, we love being Christians at some point. We believe that, we argue up and down about it, but then we realize this is a bunch of bullshit. So that's where we are in this day and age. You can't hide the bullshit no more. People are not rocking with it.
Why are young people leaving the church? Only 20%
and let me
of
say
you.
this. Let me say this. 2K said something in his video. He said he tells his kids, he told his kid that Jesus lives next door to Santa Claus, right? So once you start to realize that Santa Claus ain't real, Jesus is next on the plate for most people. Jesus is next on the plate. 2K say, I tell my child, Jesus live right next door to Santa Claus. Once she realizes Santa Claus ain't real, Jesus is next to follow. Jesus ain't real neither. And this is why you're seeing people get up and leave religion. They're leaving the churches. They're waking up. It's these young kids. It's these youngsters. They're not following for the stuff that our parents and their great-grandparents and their great-great-grandparents fell for. They're not falling for it because they're thinking, they're critically thinking, and it doesn't make sense.
Argue up and down about it, but then we realize this is a bunch of bullshit. So that's where we are in this day and age. You can't hide the bullshit no more. People are not rocking with it.
Why are young people leaving the church? Only 20% of U.S. adults attend church weekly in 2026, down from 30% 2 decades ago, while 57% now attend
Now this is the, I think this is the Pew Review. I think it's called Pew Review, where they study the numbers, of who's in church, who's not, who's following religion. And this was just in 2026 right here. I mean, well, it is 2026, but I mean, they're telling you these are numbers, recent numbers.
In this day and age, you can't hide the bullshit no more. people are not rocking with it.
Why are young people leaving the church? Only 20% of US adults attend church weekly in 2026, down from 30% 2 decades ago, while 57% now attend seldom or never, and the youngest generation is leading that exit. 37% of Gen Z now identifies as religiously unaffiliated, and 60% of young adults aged 18 to 29 have stopped attending religious services since 2010. So why is this happening? The data points to a few things. 41% of young adults who left cite disillusionment with leadership, 40% cite disillusionment with church teaching, and 55% say the church simply lacks genuine connection. And 53% of those who leave religion make that decision before age 18, meaning the church is losing people before they ever reach college. But here's what I think is the real issue underneath all of that. The American church spent decades prioritizing entertainment over substance, fog machines over theology, feelings over doctrine. And when young people hit the real world and start asking hard questions, a shallow faith built on vibes does not hold up. Young people are not leaving because they want less from faith. They are leaving because they were never given enough of it to begin with. Research consistently shows that young people who are given real theological depth, intergenerational relationships, and genuine community are significantly more likely to stay. The church does not have a relevance problem. It has a depth problem.
All right, so yeah, man, people are waking up. They're really waking up from this stuff. They're really waking up. They're thinking. They're using their mind. They're saying, wait a minute, this don't make sense, Grandma. This don't make sense. This is one last thing I want to show you guys. I just told you guys about the book, How to Make a Negro Christian. I just want to show y'all that it is a real book. It's an actual book out here. You can pull it up on YouTube and they'll read the book to you. You feel what I'm saying? Like they'll read the book. Let me see what this says. Let me just play this right quick.
This right here is showing their instruction of how they turn you Negroes into Christians. So all my family members that say you a Christian, you love Jesus, this is how you became a Christian. You didn't even research it. All right. The first period from their introduction in 1620 to the first census.
Let me see something. Let me see something real quick. I just want to show y'all this is an actual book, man. And y'all love
to an intriguing journey between the covers of Kamal Makesi Tehuti's How to Make a Negro Christian, a book that provocatively delves into the historical intertwining of African culture and Christianity.
That's not
now
it.
Picture this. The African mind was not a blank slate. It was filled with rich and complex spiritual systems.
Hold on. This is the book right here. This is the book.
Blessed be Wintercrest. I wanted to address you very briefly here and encourage you to read this book, How to Make the Negro a Christian, or a Negro a Christian. And it's about the sermons of Reverend Charles Colcock Jones. The author is Kamu Tehuti. I hope I pronounced his first name correctly. I think I got the second name right. And it's about chattel slavery of the mind. It's about why so many people think witchcraft is bad. Why they think white is right and black is bad. Like, even now, people say black male. I am a black male, but in the dictionary, a black male means traitor. How do you think that makes me feel? And the world goes around talking about the N-word and how we can't say the N-word, but they have no problem saying black male. It's in the movies. It's on the plays. They talk about it constantly. Nobody says nothing about it. Well, this book gives us the reasons why this is done and the detriments that Christianity has plagued Africans all over the world with. Right now, they're in Uganda, messing those people up with Christian thought. I encourage you to read this right here, and I think it'll be an eye-opener. And regardless of your ethnicity, read it.
I just want y'all to see. I just wanted to just show y'all, like, you can actually go on here and they will read the book to you. They'll read the book to you. It's a real
this
book.
Your car insurance premium? This?
This is what I said.
even
I said I made a
this,
song
they don't want us to
called
know that there's an
When I
easy way to
Said
lower your
Home.
car insurance costs. What you do is you go to simplify.com and it takes 2 minutes.
When I said I have a song called Dumb Niggas, right? Where I'm talking about this book. I'm talking about this book. They had a plan to put one hell of a spell on minds of dumb niggas. How to Make a Negro Christian was written with the intentions to target dumb niggas. They ain't won't smoke with no thinking niggas that'll stand and go to war with them. How to Make a Negro Christian was written with the intentions to target dumb niggas. And in the song, I say to you, don't get mad at me. Go back and listen to what I said. I'm not the one calling you the dumb nigga. I said they had a plan to target who they felt was dumb niggas with a book like this, How to Make a Negro Christian. It's to civilize you niggas, to control you niggas. Control the God, you control the mind. They gave you their God to fear. They gave you their God to worship. And you doing it. How is that working out for you? And then you run around here talking about the devil is so busy. Think for yourself. They're telling you, they wrote it in your face. They wrote the book in your face and they sold it to you. How to Make a Negro Christian. Check this out. Just check this out.
This is a reading of The Religious Instruction of the Negroes by Reverend Charles Colcock Jones, published in 1832. Read for you by Keith Stump. Note, I find this one of the most vile and disgusting pieces of writing I have ever encountered. I am reading it for its historical value, and in no wise do I support a single word in it. Also note that usually when I do my readings, I make 2 recordings and use the best portions from each. I shall not be doing that this time because I don't think I can stomach reading this twice.
So that's a whole white man telling you I can't even stomach reading this book because of what's in the book. You can go right on YouTube and type that book in and they'll read the book to you if you don't want to read it. You can go on Amazon. If you want to sit back and buy the book, you can buy the book. How to Make a Negro Christian. And y'all still don't get it. The brainwashing is real, man. The brainwashing is real. They wrote a book in your face. You know what this is called? You know what it's called? That's called mind fucking. They wrote a book and they told you how they were going to mind fuck you. And it's working like a charm still to this day. Still to this day. It's working like a charm, y'all. Religion, the biggest bully. Christianity, the biggest bully on the planet. And y'all follow it. But this is through the eyes of a non-believer why we woke up out of this nonsense.
David Banner.
If you could only know my feelings, you wouldn't know how much.
Look, fuck all that protesting and marching peacefully. They still gon' find a way to handle us egregiously, legally. If I may get this shit up on my mind now. We born in the battlefield, can't call no time out. Every time now, it's another one of us lying out, crying out. I can't breathe until he dies out. Make me ask myself, what would you die about? I doubt. If nigga been banging since junior high, let them fly on opposition resembling you and I. Race the cracker, give a fuck about it. And never will till they start picking up a couple bodies. When we got killed within some hours, scared of rain shower. The pain hurt, but the cold hard fact of the matter is getting worse. Damn. If I could wish upon a star, I send a special bullet everywhere you hateful bastards are. Pull a string like a Gibson guitar, wait from afar. Slow motion, watch it enter your temple and exit your jaw. Send you all to hell with a scar, a conversation piece. Hope it maybe leads to a joke when you and Satan speak. Yeah, you were patronizing us, we waited patiently. Well, you'll probably give your life to trade a day with me. Call that shit an eye for an eye, my nigga, by any means. Had extended clip before skinny jeans. Now bow and arrows and cop cars with kerosene. That's how I'm feeling.
For me, to be all alone. Shoot, all alone.
Fuck that shit, that's how I'm feeling.
For me,
ain't no guy that cut me down there how I'm feeling.
Shoot, all alone.
Fuck that shit, that's how I'm feeling.
I had a dream, me and King saw Zimmerman. We laid low, masked up in a rental van. He killed a child, body was stiff and twisted, man. A mother cried, only one way to fix it, man. How long for the people in the street get tired of the evil, say fuck that? How long will they kneel to the heel of the state with a foot in their face so they bust back? Won't be long for agents of the state get ate like steak cause the people too strong. Rebels coming one Sunday, it's blood by Monday, I promise I won't be long. Lame nigga, same nigga, found out crackers had money on his head. Lame nigga, same nigga, calling me like Michael, I'm scared. I hug that nigga like Michael did Fredo, kept a G like Mike Cato. Excessive force, leave a nigga no choice, but a nigga better shoot a shot fatal. Bad boy, tell me what you gon' do when the police kill your mom. Fuck that, I follow Obama when he killed up crackers that killed Breonna. I take that charge, stick out my chest, confess to Judge your honor. I'm the truth, my ancestors pray for your honor and fuck your mama.
That's how I'm feeling.
For me, to be all alone. Shoot, all alone.
Fuck that shit, that's how I'm feeling.
For me,
ain't no guy that cut me down there how I'm feeling.
Shoot, all alone.
To the broad finish, but we all been it. Need a superhero, can you call in it? That a nine problem, never solved in it. But we got the work down to Albany. Keep it law and order, it's a tall order. Murder after murder, people, y'all killings, our aunts, uncles, our grandchildren. Can't ask for it, gotta take that shit.
Ain't no repentance, eye for an eye, we want our vengeance. Life for a life, he kill your fiance, kill his wife. Same for his father, generations of sons and daughters. It's hard to stomach, they say I sound like Khalid Muhammad. I say you got me, we living under these fucking Nazis. What you expected, people riot and you respect it.
Split decision, gotta pick a side with this division. But we ain't fit for living, we can't protect our women and children. Man, we get sick, they just gon' give us some Clorox or penicillin. Experimenting Tuskegee, showed me you would deceive me.
As the city burning down in the nightfall, 96 Impala, we just bouncing like it's round ball. This ain't the 90s and the youngins ain't scared, y'all. The water boys, they might shoot back at the red dogs. I tell them plot, plan, strategize, organize, and mobilize a secret army and stay unified.
That's how I'm feeling.
For me, to be all alone. Shoot, all alone. Yeah.
Fuck that shit, that's how I'm feeling.
For me,
ain't no guy that cut me down there how I'm feeling.
Shoot, all alone.
Fuck that shit, that's how I'm feeling. I mean the truth is, I'm a human, you're a human. Skin color aside, riddle me this. How dare I speak peace to a maniac? The fuck does that make me? I mean, you motherfuckers can bend your knees, man, fold your hands and your Bibles and pray as much as you motherfucking want, but the art of not fighting back was brought to us by Christianity. That was given to us by our oppressor. So you continue to follow that, you continue to follow them. I be goddamn. I tell you what, nigga, you see me down bad, motherfucker on my ass, nigga, don't fail me, nigga, help me, nigga. I'm telling you that, nigga, while I'm right here, nigga. Nigga, I do the same for you. No cap, nigga. That bullshit ain't about nothing.